I'm 19 at the time of filming this video. In about 10 years, I tend to look back on this video and see where I was and compare it to where I am now. It's always been a long-term goal of mine to retire at an early age. And when I say early, I mean fairly early, considering retirement's usually around 58 to 65 in Australia. So I'm gonna retire pretty much before 30 years old, and I think it's achievable if you go about it the right way. But I realized at 14 when I got my first job at McDonald's that making money wasn't easy. So I started work at McDonald's at 14 and I was on minimum wage at $8.58 an hour. And yeah, so I worked there for 2.5 years on $8.58, and out of those 2.5 years, I only managed to save about $7,000. My tax return combined for those 2.5 years was about $21,000, which makes me just over $7,000 a year. But that wasn't going to stop me from succeeding. At 15, I did compulsory work experience through my school, and I attended a surveying firm in Capella. I've always wanted to do something along the lines of engineering or IT. That's what I succeeded in school. I really enjoyed graphics and I really enjoyed computer design. And surveying fits right into those categories, so I was more than happy to do the surveying work at the surveying firm. So after my compulsory week of work experience, I was actually asked back by the owner, which I was so very thankful for. And I was asked back to do paid work over the holidays. And actually the pay rate was more than double what I was earning at McDonald's. And I realized that having the right job can actually benefit you significantly. And if you work and you find the right job, you can actually be rewarded quite highly. Now it wasn't consistent work, but it showed me that choosing the right job is gonna be beneficial in the long run. So after turning 16, I was given more responsibilities in money, and I was forced, or well, not forced, but obligated to pay certain things. And I soon realized that I needed to save money, and a lot of it. Now I have to give credit where credit is due, and I have to thank my parents so very much for driving saving habits into me at a young but mature age. I had to pay food, rego, fuel, insurance, and all that sort of stuff at 16, and which is, it's good to have that driving habits into me. I understand that, but it's hard when all of your friends and mates are being handed to it on a plate and, having all of their stuff paid for, which is unfortunate. And then later during that year, I went out and bought a car half owned with my parents to get me driving ready for my P's. It was a 1999 Toyota Corolla, and we paid, I think it was just under $2,000. So after a year of driving or so, after turning 17, I grew an addiction for cars, and I really enjoyed driving them, and I've always loved the old classic JDMs and stuff like that. And so with that, I wanted to upgrade from my Toyota Corolla to a newer car, and hopefully it was going to be a turbo all-wheel drive car, hopefully a Mitsubishi Ralliart. So I saved and saved and saved, and finally I was able to afford a Ralliart, but unfortunately my parents didn't agree with the car, and we had to compromise to a cheaper and newer car. And so we went with a 2016 Mitsubishi Lancer ES. It's not what I originally wanted, but it's something that I could comfortably compromise to, and so I was happy at the end of it. My jobs between 17 and 18 years old was very unsteady, and unfortunately it made it very difficult to save a significant amount of money. I was working maybe 10 weeks a year with the surveying firm on the weekdays, and I was working about 3 to 10 hours at the Bayside Wake Park cable ski job. And unfortunately, it wasn't steady, so I found it very difficult to save a portion of money each week. So fast forward to 2020 early, unfortunately COVID hit and we were out of jobs, so I was laid off at the company with the surveying firm. And Bayside, they got a round of JobKeeper, and unfortunately I was forced to leave, and so I resigned from my position, and as a result I'm no longer receiving JobKeeper. And for those who don't know, JobKeeper is a payment of $1,500 per fortnight minus tax. But fortunately enough, I got maybe, I think it was 5 rounds of JobKeeper, and so I invested a small portion of money into the stock market while it was in the dip. And that's now back to where it was, but I'm glad I invested it at the right time. And so after that, I had 1 month break between any jobs, and I thought to myself, well, I want to make something positive out of this bad situation. And so for quite a while, I've been researching on a side hustle, and I found one that suits me very well, and it's pressure washing. And so last week, 18th of July, I started up my own pressure washing business, and it proved to be successful within a week, which I'm going to make another video about shortly. And luckily that same week, I was actually offered my original position back at the surveying firm, working 20 hours a week. And so now I've changed role a little bit into an admin role, which I'm very happy about. And that's now a positive because I've got my main source of income, the surveying firm, and then I've got my side hustle, which is the pressure washing business, which has gone really well so far. So I'm just very, very happy and thankful. So now that my jobs are now underway and I'm sitting in a comfortable position, I can now comfortably start saving for a house, which is going to be the next sort of step in my life. And hopefully I'll have enough spare cash to get another car eventually, but at the moment it's not going to happen. So I think I'm going to focus on saving for a house right now, and then we'll get into real estate investing, which is another big goal of mine. Yeah, so that's my financial situation and backstory at the mid 2020. And once again, I look to have a look back on this video in about 10 years and see where I was and see how much I've improved. And so I thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you gain something out of it. It's not to brag and it's not to show off, but it's just a reflection for myself, looking back on it in about 10 years or so, see where I've come from. Yeah, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the like on the video. It helps out the YouTube algorithm and it helps small channels like me grow. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.